How are we doing today? We're going to be demonstrating some primitive fire techniques today. Today we're actually going to be doing bow drill, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through some proper techniques and some form, so hopefully that'll help you out. Alright, so now we're going to get into the actual form of running the drill itself. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to step on the drill or the harp board where we want to run, and this is the hole we're going to run right now. Now we're not going to get a coal right now, I'm just basically showing you the proper form. If you see my leg, my ankle is in line with the harp board. That's going to help me when I lock everything in to keep everything straight. My leg is in behind my ankle, and what I'm going to do with this back foot is I'm going to turn it. So basically I've tripoded myself, 3 points of contact with the ground. Now the part of the spindle that we want to run on the board goes up, and then we turn it into the harp board or into the bow. This is our handhold or our block. Just going like that. Now we're set up. So the reason why we set up like this is because there's a straight path right here to where nothing's going to get in our way. So we can run the drill just like that, very easily. Alright, let's start a new hole, and I'll walk you through that process. Alright, so let's go through basically the beginning of this. Act like these holes are not even in here. One tip that I'll give you, especially if you're in an actual situation where you're trying this, is if you're making a board, don't start your holes on the corner. Obviously we'll not really close because it'll just chip off. But what I actually like to do is I like to start and put my foot on the board this way, and then put my hole as close to my foot as I can. Now let me explain why. If you start your holes over here, your foot's going to go here, and God help you if it's wet outside, because if you don't get an ember out of this hole, you're going to have to move down the board where your foot just was. You're soaking wet foot that is now soaked into this board. So if you start your hole here and you don't get an ember, you can move down each time a dry board. So this is just for demonstration. It's completely dry out here, so that's why we did it this way. Let's move down the board, and we're going to start a hole here. Just like that. Now we're actually going to do what's called burning in, which means we're going to put our spindle in that crater that we just made, and we're going to burn it in, and I'll get right back to you. Alright, now we're going to get burnt in. If you notice, my spindle is actually in my pocket right here. You never want this to hit the ground. I mean, I know this might seem a little crazy, OCD if you will, but if your life depends on a technique like this, and if you're down to using this, your life does depend on it at this point. You want every single variable in your favor. That means you want something underneath your harp board. You don't want to throw your spindle on the ground. You don't want anything, any component to this soaking up moisture from the earth. So I always stick it in my pocket or hold it on my foot or whatever if I'm just doing a minor adjustment. So anyways, I'm going to touch up the point of this and we'll burn in. Now what I'm doing here is I'm putting multiple cuts in there, making it almost look like a soccer ball, and that's going to give me lots of friction. Okay, I'm also not wanting a point on this. I'm wanting kind of a blunt, flat surface, but on this part that goes in my handhold, you kind of do want a point on that. And the reason why is the less surface area you have, the less friction you're going to have on that point. So let's kind of point this out. And the way you can tell that if it's too blunt is obviously you're going to get smoke in your handhold. You don't want that.
That's what I want to see right there. A little bit of smoke. I'm not trying to start a fire right now. I'm just burning in. Getting the hole ready.
Put our spindle in our pocket. Careful, it might be a little hot.
I'll bring that up to you guys. Let you see the hole.
See this dust right here? Definitely don't want to just discard that. That stuff's good for the fire for sure. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my multi-tool, the saw blade on that, and I'm going to cut a V-notch right down about a quarter of the way into the hole. But that is not the real crucial part. From my experience, the really crucial part is if you get tight as a V as you can. That for some reason really helps out. Let me try to get that done. I'll get that and I'll show you. Alright, went a little deep into the hole, but I don't think we're going to have a problem. That all's going to collect up. But let's try to get an ember out of it.
Alright, now when I get started, I'm not going to want to rush this. I'm just going to heat the bow up, heat the board up, real slow. And what I'm looking for is that notch that we made. I'm looking for it to start collecting the dust. Getting a little smoke, it's a good sign. My notch is starting to collect dust. Starting to fill up. When that notch fills up, it's go time. It's time to pour it on. Oh, popped out. No big deal. We got a good amount of dust coming. Kinda cool.
An army frog?
You don't have to rush anything at this point. You got time. Last thing you want to do is rush. Get that into our tinder torch that I've made here. Alright, now, you want to start out by blowing this thing to Kingdom Come. You gotta start out slow.
There you go, guys. Fire, 10,000 BC. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Appreciate all your views, comments, and support. See you out in the woods.